My name is Carmen Folse, and I teach at Cypress Grove Montessori Academy in St. James Parish School District. As a teacher, I am most passionate about aiding students while developing the tools that will help them be their best adult self, which includes academics and life skills. I feel as a lover of history, there are so many valuable lessons to learn. I want my students to look at history not as something so far away, but a glimpse into how people who came before us walked through life. They were real people who had fun, worked, explored, and learned just like us. I know that social studies can appear boring from the outside, so I'm intentional about using a variety of lenses to show that history is intriguing. Through building meaningful relationships with my students, it opens the door for them to take academic risk and know that they are supported and accepted. In my lesson today, you will see my fifth graders creating a culminating project based on our study of West African kingdoms using content from the Bayou Bridges curriculum. The expectation is that my students will be able to describe the geographic, political, economic, and cultural structure of the three main medieval West African kingdoms, which are Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. The students in my room have a variety of learning needs, including 4 students with IEPs. To support learning for all, I intentionally grouped my students heterogeneously so that my higher students can provide support to the peers with learning gaps, which is mutually beneficial as the higher student deepens their understanding when supporting their peers. Prior to this lesson, we studied each kingdom and their impact on the West African region and its people. The students will synthesize this information to create their assigned kingdoms poster, which in turn will be used by the other groups for their analysis of what kingdom has the greatest impact. Adaptations used to ensure all learners were supported are chunking information into digestible amounts, an emphasis on vocabulary, and the incorporation of visuals like maps and timelines, as well as clear and concise directions. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Miss Carmen.
So we've been working really hard to lay the foundation of our understanding for the medieval West African kingdoms. Who remembers those empires? Let's call them out. Ghana, Mali, Songhai. Okay, so we've been working on those basic understanding of that culture, those empires, okay? What we're going to do today is we're going to start digging deeper into that understanding of those empires using the strands of history. Who can tell me those strands of history? We use them in our timeline. We use them in our studies. Lawson, what are they? The grapes. G is for geography, religion, achievements, politics, social structure, and what's E? Economics. Thank you, Emma. So you are going to use those 6 strands to really guide and drive your research, okay? Your research is going to allow you to create a gallery walk. So you will be into 3 groups, 1 for each of the empires, and you're going to create a poster of those 6 strands to better help your classmates understand those empires, okay? Because our ultimate goal is to be able to describe the geography, the economics, and the cultural structure of Mali, Ghana, and Songhai.
In the 1300s, it was ranked as the wealthiest and most powerful state in West Africa.
Wow, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. So what do you think that means to all the people that live around them?
They were wealthy, they had crops, they had gold, they were good at trading. Like, it flourished, it was going really good.
So if I'm fabulous like Molly, right? And y'all are all my neighbor, would I be a favorite person?
Yes, because you're wealthy. Yeah.
But what if I don't share with you? No. So what would that create possibly?
A collapse.
It does lead to the collapse, but like if I have all of the stuff, but I'm not sharing with Jamar's tribe and I'm not sharing with Jackson's tribe or Chloe's tribe, what is that going to cause these relationships to be? War, fighting. Okay, so remember when we initially studied Mali, one of the reasons for the collapse was invasions. So if Mali is ranked the wealthiest and most powerful state, you might not have that many friends. you know, you're going to be a target, unfortunately, because you have a lot of resources.
What if they trade?
They do, but you think do you think they trade fairly?
No.
Probably not. Okay. So that's some things to think about when we're sharing out on our poster is it is the wealthiest and most powerful state.
So we could put that, but, and then put that.
Well, it could. We know it made Mali collapse. We
Because
know
invasions.
So as you get bigger, you typically don't have as many friends because you got wealthy and powerful. Sometimes not by the best way. Like I could take from Jackson and he can't fight back because I'm more powerful. I can get all the resources, but he can't fight. He couldn't fight back or defend himself. So it's not always, it doesn't always get acquired in the fairest way. Sometimes the person with the most power just kind of takes what they want. And it isn't always fair.
It's kind of like Prince Brad. They just take whatever they want and they blame other people.
It is like Prince Brat and the Whipping Boy and just blame other people.
Mm-hmm.
But did that make him friends? So think about Prince Brat and the Whipping Boy. And then think about that on a bigger scale, like a nation of people. It typically doesn't end well. But I like that connection, and I think that's a very interesting fact that you may want to keep in your mind and share out on your poster for Mali. Maybe people don't know that yet, you know? We're looking for geography, religion, achievements, politics, economics, social structure. You just created a source walk. You were each responsible for your own kingdom, okay? So I want you to look at your paper because you're going to have to learn now from the group that created that empire's poster. So if you look, it says, as you walk around, you're going to record record what you learned from each of the kingdoms, and then I'm going to give you about 5 or 10 minutes to go learn from your other 2 posters, and then you're going to meet with your group, and you're going to discuss some of the ahas, some of the things that maybe you were shocked and you didn't know about, okay? And then you have a question we're going to come to the rug to discuss. Mm-hmm. Yep, you're learning from them. So where would that go in the chart? Perfect. So you might not even need to write it all. What is the feature it's talking about? No, there you go.
The map of the Niger River.
You could just put Niger River. Isn't that part of its geography? It's even showing you in the map, you see, how it's showing that the Niger River is a geographical feature. How do you think an empire controls the trade route? Exactly what do they mean by that? But how does that allow you to control a trade route? So think of a trade route like a road, right? It's a path, it's a route. How do you control that? Military, maybe? I mean, because this is not GPS. Like, we can't look at them from the satellite.
They made the trade.
Well, they could have.
They owned it.
Okay, but if you own it, does that mean you can defend it?
Yeah.
Not all the time, right? Our wrap-up question says, which kingdom do you think had the greatest impact and support with some evidence? Who would like to go first? Emma.
Ghana, because they controlled trade routes and they had salt and gold dust because they didn't have currency back then.
Anybody has a rebuttal, or would you like to add on if you think it's Ghana? Jackson.
I think Ghana had.
So you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Ghana had the greatest impact because Ghana started it all because they were the first, then Mali, then Songhai. The Ghana people started the empire, theirs grew and then declined, then Mali, then Songhai.
So basically Mali and Songhai were built from what was, okay. Would anybody like to add on or disagree? What about you? Adding on or disagreeing?
Adding on.
Okay.
I like what Emma said because trade routes. So basically, their trade was economic. Their economics was trade,
Mm-hmm.
and trade is a big thing now. Like people use that to get their food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays we use money to trade for everything.
Okay, but isn't money still a form of trade?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You trade your money for
Mm-hmm.
your food, your clothes.
So you think their strength comes from that trade?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody agrees or would like to disagree? Pipple, you would like to disagree. Let's hear this.
I think Mali because they were ranked the most powerful and wealthiest state. The Mali Empire was so big because they kept taking everything.
Okay.
With all that, they couldn't defend it.
Well, we knew why they declined, but you think that's your argument of why they made the greatest impact. So does anybody agree with Pippa or would like to add on or disagree? Heath.
I disagree.
Okay, so who do you think?
I think it's Songhai because you can't really say Mali has the most land, but at first Songhai didn't have the most land, but once they took over Ghana, they had the most land. They had all the trade routes. They had a lot of resources.
Interesting point.
They had a powerful military too.
Right. Agree, disagree?
I'd like to agree with you.
Okay.
I think Ghana had I think Songhai had the biggest and most powerful impact because of its size. It literally fell because of its size. It silently grew while Mali was.
So you're telling me its greatest strength is also its downfall?
Yes. So while Mali was,
I know, it's a very interesting point.
Mali was conquering everybody. Songhai was just growing and growing and growing. And whenever Mali finally stopped fighting, they attacked Mali and took over. And then they attacked Ghana.
Interesting. Interesting. Chloe. Okay, she wants to disagree with Pippa.
So she basically said they were the most powerful and wealthiest. So that is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because.
Explain.
So basically, when you have more wealth and more power, you tend to be really greedy. And think about this: if I take your house, would you be mad at me?
Yes.
Did you pay me? Think about that. He was taking their land. If you take other people's stuff and you start building on to be wealthy and stuff like that, people are going to start getting mad and they'll start war and invasions.
So I'm going to chime in because Jamar had a good point. We were talking about comparison and growth and how these empires were growing because of invasion. And I said, well, would you be happy if somebody invaded you? Because the people that they're gaining every time they grow and they conquer, these people might not be happy. Like, if you said I had to now be a Texan and I couldn't be a Louisianan anymore, I might not be happy about that. If I can't take my gumbo with me, we might not be doing this. Okay? So some of these, we have to think, guys, this is not just an empire. This is a group of people. Like me, you, your parents, like the community of Lutcher or Gramercy or Vacherie. These people are coming in. They're outsiders, right? The people who are there are not always going to be happy. Some people might sprinkle some gold dust around, might get some people happy, but not everyone came willingly. Not everyone liked the new people in charge, right?
In reflection of my lesson, I was pleased about the gallery walk and the discussion about the African empires. Their discussion showed a deeper understanding beyond the standard as well as the connections to past literature. In the future for this lesson, I would like to extend the timeline a bit for the creation of the gallery walk posters. I would have liked to be able to provide more guidance through this creation. I was torn with providing true examples because sometimes that stifles creativity. I feel like my students achieved the objective, which was to describe the geographic, political, economic, and cultural structures of the medieval Western African kingdoms. I love their debate about which empire made the greatest impact and their evidence to support their claim. The students made excellent points. I was amazed at how deep their understanding went. Next up, the students will complete their standard mastery, which will require them to apply their knowledge along with related primary sources to answer multiple choice questions in the form of a formative assessment.